Hi guys and welcome to the first ever episode of IAMABIKER Moto Stories Untold. And today we have some special guys with us who have changed the way Indians as a whole think of commuting. And these are guys from our startup city of Bengaluru, and this is Abhishek and Kuldip who are joining us today. So guys, welcome. Nice to have you here, and thank you for making time on your busy schedule, massive expansion. So Royal Brothers, can you name 5 things that has changed or defined the growth of Royal Brothers in the last 5-6 years?
We started with 5 motorcycles in a small house. We started Royal Brothers with only Royal Enfields. But 2 months into the business, we realized that the actual demand is for scooters because people are lacking mobility or commuting issues in Bangalore. And they wanted a small, faster solution rather than depending on public transportation. So 2 months into the business, we introduced scooters. So that was one of the breakthroughs, and eventually we started evolving, and then we saw demands coming from different cities and different verticals of models of bikes that was required. So it was not anymore about only Royal Enfields. It became a factor of Kuldip was the one who launched our mid-segment, we call it, which is a bike category between 150cc to 250, 300cc category. So that's a huge uptick for us. So it's a continuous evolution, I would say.
No, let me just, maybe a weird question at this point. So you guys started with Royal Enfield. So probably that had some influence with the name as well.
Yeah, so the name actually has a story. So when we were building the brand and we were thinking of coming up with a brand name, right? So we decided the business model as renting motorcycles, right? I was personally inclined towards Royal Enfield. I always dreamt of having one. But it was one of the challenges that we couldn't afford in the initial days. So the brand has a great affinity with its rich heritage. So we always saw that people, when they were riding in a group, they used to call themselves as brotherhood, right? So that is where brothers comes, and Royal comes from the Royal Enfield, let's be honest about it. But eventually, yeah, it has become also the other reason why we chose brother as a word was when we were all growing up, the usual intuition is I want to ride a bicycle or learn how to ride a bicycle or a bike. The first thing that we used to do, reach out to a brother to help you learn. It could be male or female, right? So you're a male, female, doesn't matter. The first thing is your brother or cousin brother who would give his bike, and you could borrow that and learn.
And crash it.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that's at least allowed.
That is at least allowed. So that is how it started, right? So the brothers in this particular brand name is a lot about what we are. Even today, our partnership as founders, the way we take decisions, it's all depending on, it's a brotherhood. So our conversation is not limited to only business anytime. It's two friends hanging out together, calling each other by.
But Kuldip joined a little bit later, right? I mean, you guys started the company and you joined a little bit later. So how did you guys find each other and like?
Before RB, I had a startup, but I was actually renting bikes in that also. And then I reached out to Abhishek to lend me the bikes.
Okay.
And they're Royal Enfields. So I came to Royal Brothers, I met Abhishek, and I was like, if you can lend me the bikes, I'll put it up on my portal and I'll rent it out from my portal. And then that actually didn't work out because he outrightly said and rejected the idea. He was like, no, I don't do all this. And then I was like, okay, if you don't do this, we'll meet up again. And then somehow, I don't know what happened, and then we were in constant touch. In like 2-3 months, we realized that, okay, this is something that we both want to do. And we can actually, if we join hands together, we'll be more powerful, we'll become better, and we'll do something that we both want to do. So that's how we joined hands and we just started.
So probably that is one of a key merger that happened in your story that changed.
Yeah, it has changed a lot since then. We have done a lot of things together. We have achieved great fleet in terms of inventory size, business, team, everything.
I think you've done hundreds of interviews on that. We all know you're successful. But tell me one thing that stands out. You guys reached a point where you have to do this, but there is something blocking you from doing it, and then something that you guys had to figure out overnight. So that one key turning point, or maybe that might be inspirational to the people watching, that you stuck through that particular thing and you had to as a team come out of it, and maybe investor gave you a deadline. Okay.
When you're doing something for the past 7-8 years, there are a lot of these moments which come.
Okay.
It's not just one single moment, but it's a combination of lot of these moments, and that keeps triggering you and gives you that tipping point. One I specifically remember is one on our 31st night. We had to we had a lot of bookings and we didn't have vehicles to deliver it to the customers. So we actually reached out to a lot of people, and then we rented out whatever vehicles we had. We had to do some jugaad to get more vehicles. So while doing all of this, we realized, at least I personally realized that okay, this is not the limit.
Okay.
Having 100 vehicles on the platform is not just enough. You need to have thousands and thousands of vehicles, and it's not going to be on a 31st night, it's going to be every day. So that was one tipping point during the initial days.
So back then in 2017, 16, 17, there was a lot of buzz around bike rentals.
Okay.
Everyone wanted to do it.
Yeah, there are a lot of companies that came up. Yeah.
So we were the first ones to get commercial license to rent motorcycles in Karnataka and other states also. We have 4 states that we proudly say that we are the first ones to operate. And then fast forward 2 years down the line, there are 55 companies. And now you have to, it's become an ocean full of companies, red ocean. Everyone is fighting for the same customer. And so that is when I think we tried innovating something new. We called RB City, something called, where we differentiated our business model called RB City and RB Explore. RB Explore was going on your bike expeditions, weekend trip.
Okay.
RB City for using on a regular basis, scooters, right? And then we built the app, we tested it, and we failed. We realized, and then we said, okay, we'll go back to our ground, we'll stick to RB Explore, and we'll try just scaling that business. During this point of time, there were 2 major companies which came in this business, and they took up a huge money in terms of funding. It was close to $200 million. And then we had just given up that business model. So if we had just stuck onto it, we would have raised that money. That was a little upsetting at that point of time. But before they got the investment, the investors actually met us, who were invested in the other companies.
Okay.
And we were very clear that we don't want to do that business model because we didn't see the financial viability of it. If I had changed the business model because I just wanted to get
Raise
these investors or raise money, we wouldn't have been true to ourselves, right? So if you're not true to yourself, you can't get up every day and work. It has been tough, but we have figured out how to survive. We have created our own niche. Example, like I mentioned earlier, Kuldip created a different category.
Yes.
That category came in that time. That helped us make
But
the
that
revenue
category
required.
also, you won't believe, we were actually not very sure about it.
Okay.
So our first vehicle in the mid segment was actually a Pulsar and 2 Avengers.
Okay.
And then the first time we both went out, we went to the KTM showrooms and we tried out the KTMs, and we were like literally scared of the vehicle. We are like, okay, this is going to be too much on the platform. Like, do we want this? Do we want this? Should we bring it or should we not bring it? And then we kept on discussing this for a couple of days, and then one day we realized, we were like, okay, chuck it.
Let's get on it.
Let's get on it. Let's get the bike. Let's see what happens. And then now the rest is, as we say, it's history.
But the big question in between all this, how did COVID affect you guys? I mean, it affected everybody. It surely has. But I've already read a couple of interviews that you've given, and how you change your business models. So I mean, was that a instant idea that you guys tried it out, or and how successful was that?
It was actually an instant idea.
Okay.
It was a sudden idea. We were experimenting with giving vehicles to doctors, engineers, network engineers specifically.
Yeah.
So we got from a telecom company, we got some order, and then we realized that okay, we can supply the vehicles to the telecom guys. During that phase, Abhi actually came up with an idea.
So COVID, like you're on a rocket,
Yeah.
it's just going like this business, and then you have everything coming crashing. So
But before that, 2019 was our first round of funding.
yeah,
Okay.
We raised our first round of funding, and we were actually
Flying.
going full throttle.
Yeah, full
Full
throttle.
throttle. 2020 we were doing massive, great numbers.
Yeah.
And
so we tripled. in our revenues,
The fleet
business,
and
yeah,
fleet was
everything,
massive.
yeah. So 3x was the growth from the time we took money to before COVID, and then we did all of that. And the first month, which is April 2020, we saw the least revenue compared to the first month that we started business.
Okay, that's
So
bad.
that bad. Like
That bad.
it is less than ground zero, you can call it. And we were like constantly figuring out how to rent a motorcycle. Every vehicle which was outside with customers had come down. We had no parking place because the way we operate is we optimize our real estate in a way that if a real estate space occupies 50 assets, we have 150 assets listed on that particular one.
things will be
So
on
it keeps
rotation.
rotation, yeah, right? So imagine everything is back. Now you have to park it on the road. And you need to figure out a way to get these assets out. During COVID, what we realized was people needed personal mobility. They didn't want to share cabs, buses, because no one was coming out. And people who were coming out was factory workers, frontline workers, doctors, and medicine staff, right?
They
So
didn't want to put a huge loan on their heads.
yeah, no, where will you put?
I think,
No,
I
banks
think
are
people
not
were not
working.
allowed also.
Yeah.
Banks
Showrooms
were not
are
working.
not
Nothing
open.
was working.
So we turned around the business model there. The tech team was very supportive. In 15 days, we came up with the tech. We deployed 75% of our inventory was out. And we were fortunate enough. But that was not making the same amount of revenue because you're giving assets for 3 months, 6 months. And you can't give it at a daily rental pricing. So you have to drop it. But for us, survival was the requirement.
Things kept
there.
moving.
Yeah.
Things kept moving, and in fact, we were one of those companies who did not fire anyone.
Okay, that is excellent. I mean, that is
We didn't, because we realized that okay, maybe, I mean, there's a certain sect of people who are working with us, and these guys are like extremely dependent on us. They had no other source of income, and they had like given everything to the company. Also during this phase, when we were launching RBX, the entire idea of the delivery didn't come from any of us.
okay.
This came from the executives.
Yeah.
They came back to us and they told, listen, if you guys cannot operate the office from 9 o'clock till the normal timing, the 6 o'clock or the 9 o'clock in the evening, we'll come at 5 o'clock in the morning. And we'll deliver everything by 6 o'clock in the morning, before the curfew starts.
Okay.
So they were like,
Yeah, that's how we did it.
it was actually not our idea. They came back to us, they told us all of this, and then we realized that okay, these guys are willing to do it. They want to stick around, they want to grow the company, and we also want to grow the company.
That would have been, I mean, it would have been difficult, but these things would have motivated you more.
Yeah, so I think we had one town hall session then, virtual town hall when everyone was at home. And then I remember someone mentioning that, sir, whatever you do, please don't fire us, even if you don't pay us salary. So that was very touching at that point of time. But we still managed to pay everyone. Not the 100%, let's be frank. You have to do what is right for the business, for the longevity of it, right? Then we sold bikes.
We sold bikes.
Then we decided, so he came up with a plan, that he made a list, he sat with his whole team virtually, they decided a list of vehicles that we are going to sell, and we sold it during lockdown also.
Okay.
So we figured out vendors who would buy it at that time. So we create enough money that we have people, we can keep paying people, just push the wave aside till some time. It is done good to us because survival during that phase has helped us overcome second wave, third wave. We have grown the business 3 times from then, and then we have grown the inventory by 3 times. Team size has grown by 3 times. So that is a good gesture. So surviving, holding back to people who trusted us, then now we are helping us grow.
Now they keep pillars into the whole.
Yeah,
I think the team has also become very resilient now.
Okay.
So it has come to that stage where we have also realized that okay, now what is the worst that can happen with us?
We've already been through.
We had 500 vehicles on the road the day lockdown was announced. Also, we had to sell vehicles. Then we had to launch RBX, right? The tech team was also not available. But then the fastest tech development in RB's history was during that time.
15 days.
In 15 days. And then this team, and then we came, figured out the dealers, we sold vehicles. Then we paid salaries. We were able to create a runway. This runway also was designed by the team members. They decided that okay, this is how we are going to survive over the period. Now the team is at that stage that listen, what is the worst that can happen with us? We have already seen the ground,
Yeah.
right? Now sky is the limit.
It's post-COVID now. You guys are flying again. let's forget about investment and all those financial and business. Let's talk about customers.
Yeah.
So I'm with thousands of vehicles now. So
We have
every
a lot.
customer is going to have a unique story, is going to have a unique problem. So maybe something challenging from a customer point of view that you faced. Maybe vehicle broke down, or maybe customer has taken the vehicle and he actually did not have a license, or maybe he faked a license. Any issues like that?
No,
I'm
no,
not
no, no.
saying
But
that
before
whatever.
that, we'll tell you something that happened because of the both of us.
Our tech malfunctioned and it took an order in the night saying that pickup time is at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning,
Okay.
where our operations time is only at 7 to 10 or something. And something happened and we took an order, and it was a Friday night. As usual, Kuldip was partying. And
I was partying late in the night.
so now the customer calls and starts,
And not just one, there were a couple of them. They started abusing us because they were like, we have booked a vehicle.
So those were all priors, we can say, not abusers, Kuldip. See, every customer feedback, if you don't leverage it to streamline, strengthen yourself, I think you're done. So for every decision that we make today, its customer becomes the center point. We revolve everything. What would the customer want at this point of time? Again with RBX, right? So when during COVID, it was the customer first. What would the customer use? They don't want daily rental. They want a vehicle that they don't have to return it for the next 2-3 months during the lockdowns.
Yeah.
That is what they wanted, right? So you come up with the products. That has happened, and Kuldip, luckily after his party time,
4 o'clock in the morning, we
went
woke
there.
up, went, delivered the vehicles to the customer. Because they were at the office.
They were waiting. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were waiting. Similarly, one of the Spanish customer came and he was at JP Nagar. He called us up at somewhere close to around 10 or 11 o'clock and it was raining. And I'm still talking about the early days. So that time we were like, okay, whatever happens,
You had to get a
we will serve the customer a vehicle, irrespective. So this Spanish guy calls up and he's like, I'm coming to the office. We are like, see, it's raining, you cannot come to the office. We'll give it to you early morning. He said, no, I'll figure out, I'll just come. And we took him in the rain, got the vehicle, gave him on the spot, and he drove. Then he gave us very good ratings and all, but
But yeah, customer is king. But customers usually, some of them, at least 0.1%, defy logic even. Have you faced any situation?
no, so
like that?
we have them, right? So see,
I have a lot of them.
you can't
No,
deny that.
I don't want you to name
No, no,
or,
so see,
say,
no.
put down your customers. I mean, definitely customers are king.
It's not about
but
the
how
customers.
you deal with these kind of situations?
No, see, it's not
is it a
about the
learning
customers
opportunity
also.
or-
Look at how the technology is evolving,
Okay.
right? Even the Activa's key lock, the set itself has become so complicated.
Yeah.
It's not how it
seat
used to be.
yeah,
Like you
seat,
insert a
this,
key and
that.
you open it. Now you have a seat in that. You have
Fuel lock
the
in
fuel
that.
lock in that. You have the on and off in that. Also the handle lock in
Yeah.
that.
Everything is.
It's pretty complicated. So it's not the customer's fault.
So they would probably face challenge like, okay.
See,
tell
I
me
don't
how-
expect
See, the
my
business has evolved around
Yeah.
that, right? So now we have recently we have introduced customer excellence team, not just customer experience, customer excellence team, where they will only focus on issues which can be fixed over the call. So they do a video call and help if customers are not able to fill fuel properly or start the
instant
vehicle.
live on
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's really
so
good.
so we try see when your intent is right, so you make that happen. And the good part about us, I would like to mention is it's the team. So we've built a team that we can peacefully sleep. So every night we can just go back to bed and we'll say, okay, today we handled roughly around 1,000 transactions a day, and I'm not expecting all 1,000 vehicles are going to have a free transaction, easily smooth process. Definitely not. So you can't deny that fact. And the issues are evolving. So it's not the same issues that we faced 5 years ago. It's a new issues which are coming because the products are evolving, customer requirements are changing, and we are also adopting to it. And we recently introduced 24/7 call
Customer
support.
Okay, that's
See, it can't happen overnight, but it is a process. And all that you'll have to believe in is that vision that you have, and you have to drive the process towards it.
No, maybe moving on a little bit. Now, in case of rentals, probably one question people have is it a complication to take it out of state? Like if you're taking a bike from Bangalore, and you want to go, say, somewhere in Pondicherry or something like that, is there a issue with the government or taxation, that kind of?
No.
Nothing.
So basically, these vehicles will come with a commercial permit for that particular state, and whenever you're crossing the border, you'll have to take a permit.
Okay.
That's clearly written in our terms and conditions, and the customers can just avail that at the checkpost. I will give you a small brief of renting, right? In 1997, Indian government bought in the rent a motorcycle scheme. 1997 in the Motor Vehicle Act. From then till our first license in Karnataka, no one actually got a commercial two-wheeler rental license.
Nobody actually did it.
Nobody actually did it because they were all operating under the radar
Okay.
with no GST or no taxes being charged, all cash transactions. We came in and legalized it, right?
Okay.
So when
Fancy
you're
way to put it is we organized an unorganized sector.
market.
Okay.
Simple.
That's the best way.
Yeah, so the pitch that we made to the government was also the same thing. See, this is a market which is already operating. We want to legalize it. We want to digitize it. So anything. See, today someone might use our bike for some illegal activity, but I have a proof of his documents and everything that we could be helpful to the police if in
Actually
case.
tracking him down.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. So that is something.
Everything
that
is trackable nowadays.
The bikes also are fitted with GPS.
Yes,
and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's for the safety. So we don't leverage the data unless it's a legal requirement.
Bike rental is usually in India, if you say bike rental, everyone thinks that it's only available in Goa.
Goa.
Apart from Goa, it's not there.
Right.
But look at the market that you have in Bangalore, Hyderabad, all the tier 1 cities right
You
now.
guys have changed the way people commute.
Yeah.
I think we'll take that credit. We'll take
It
it.
really is true. I mean, I myself have seen. I see the sticker almost everywhere.
Yeah.
That's really good. Now, I want to talk about your fleet. So, I mean, do you have a number now? I mean, 5,000, 10,000.
What fleet
The
size?
fleet say
We are roughly around 3,000 right
3,000.
now.
I mean, across India.
Yeah, majority coming from Bangalore and other tier 1 cities.
Okay.
See, the plan, the vision cannot be drawn into Excel sheets. But the vision is any city, any village, any town. You go there, your mobility is taken care by us. Renting is not a new concept. The reason I mention this is when we were kids, I used to rent a bicycle for 1 rupee and ride it for 1 hour and return it. So, and you could try different bicycles. If it was there back in 2000s, think of it this way that today cycles are being replaced by motorcycles, right? So that is the evolution that is happening, and we are trying to bring it in a way that one brand can do mobility service across India. And the way we approach also is different, right? So if you go to a different state or a city, our dynamics might not work. So our tech and business is adaptable to that. And when we operate in tier 2, tier 3 cities, we work with a local franchisee. So we, in fact, throughout our journey, we have started creating our entrepreneurs on the way. So we take the credit, and we feel proud that we have created almost 12 franchisees who's an entrepreneur today.
Okay.
They've quit their jobs and they've taken up a RV franchisee. Yes.
Oh, that's really awesome. You're empowering people.
Yes. Yes.
In
Even
other ways as well.
in tier 2, tier 3 cities, even our vehicle mix changes.
Okay. No,
So you can't have the same BMWs
yeah,
going
I
around
was
every
coming
year.
to that. So your fleet, see, commuters usually you talk about scooters primarily, and then you have the easy ride bikes, or mileage bikes, you can call them,
Yeah.
the 100cc bikes, 125cc bikes. But what about these kind of bikes? Are you seeing a good demand for rentals for bigger bikes, like
Yeah.
250 plus?
We see a good demand for these vehicles, but it's limited to a certain category. There will be a lot of demand for Hayabusas,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make sense for us. The 650cc still needs to evolve a little bit more.
Okay.
There should be something in the sports category. Right now, all that we see are the retro cruisers and all. So there needs to be
Adventure.
more adventure. There needs to be more of the
I think
modern
the
retros.
general crowd is moving towards adventure now. I mean, at least
I think
the
that is
current
what
trend.
is happening.
Yeah, the current
If
trend.
you honestly
See-
ask me, I see a lot of demand in the adventure segment.
Okay.
That's like
So the
overall it
Himalayans
has
and
picked up.
X-Pulses and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, so see, it has happened in the car segment, it's happening in the two-wheeler segment. The way how the compact SUVs took over the market. Every brand today has, right from the
Yeah.
Skodas, which was known only for sedans in India, to have a compact SUV. Everyone has a compact SUV right now, even in the luxury brands, right? So the same thing is happening in the two-wheeler industry, which is with the adventure series. I'm sure in the next 1 year or two, every brand will have their own adventure, 2-3 different models. And adventure is
becoming
a
expensive.
practical model for Indian roads.
Exactly, the type of roads that we have and terrains that we have, I think it makes a lot of sense. But one question in that is, how do you decide your fleet? I mean, okay, commuter segment, you have a set of scooters and but in terms of maybe slightly higher capacity.
You know,
vehicles.
we actually have around 7 to 8 different models in the scooter segment itself.
I mean, there is a huge number.
Yeah, so we started scooters with only Honda Activas. Then we tried and compete Honda Activa with a different model. And then we eventually created different verticals in the scooters itself.
Okay.
So we have like
So now we have the Moto scooters.
we have Moto scooters, we have Pleasures to start with, not Activa to start with.
Even lighter scooters.
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we always keep saying
So
this.
I think when we introduced Pleasures, we saw uptick in women use cases.
Yeah,
Lightest scooter.
Yeah.
it's the lightest scooter. So we have that. We also have TVS XLs, but very few. It's a fun thing to
And it is
ride.
occupied all the time, by the way.
That's
It's a very fancy thing to ride. It's fun, but we have never seen those vehicles in the past 2 years.
It's always.
It's always there. We don't know with whom, but yeah, it's great.
always-
Yeah, and it's fun to see there when you see it. And we keep saying this. So we have got everything from a TVS XL to a Harley Davidson. But
So I mean, let's. What next? What's Royal Brothers up to? What's
So we
coming
have
in the
not
next?
even scratched the surface.
we have not scratched the surface. Exactly the point.
So I mean, in terms of going to other states or.
Yeah, so we are looking at geographical expansion within India. We have started, like we had only rentals, now we have subscription, which is RBX. For from anywhere from 3 months to 36 months, you can rent a bike. Now we have launched a store where you could buy accessories, anything that you need a aftermarket fitment. We have it, or riding gas for yourself, right? So we are also started working with OEMs on that, so they can sell their product on our platform. The way we pursue RB, right? RB was a rental company, will be a rental company, but it is evolving around the two-wheeler space. So initial thought for you would be, okay, I don't have a bike, I will rent a bike. Okay, if you are in Bangalore, you have a bike, then why do you want to rent it? This is the next question, right? How is the business for you? I would say, even if you have a bike in Bangalore, but when you travel to Hyderabad, you don't have a bike. That is when I see you as a customer. Okay. And when you are in Bangalore and you have a bike, then we will give you different bikes. So you might have a Royal Enfield today. You want to try a BMW. So that is when you will come and rent it. So we can't discount any customer, right? So we can't tell if that person owns a bike, he will never rent it. So the moment we start acquiring every customer in different verticals, we want to create that ecosystem that you walk into RB's app, you can get anything and everything covered, right? Today we have rental, subscription and store. Tomorrow we might launch insurance policies for your own bikes.
It's just in India right now. So what if we launch outside India, and there are other products that we can look at. We can also look at long distance touring in Europe.
Okay.
So there's
those kind of package things.
a lot of packages are there. So we do it in India. We might be able to do it in the outside countries also.
But the DNA doesn't change. Renting is the piece.
The core.
Bread and
That's the
butter
core
comes from
business.
there.
Okay.
Anything above that is just an add-on service that we would like to introduce.
Okay. So guys, thank you once again.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much.
A pleasure hearing the backstories and also a lot of crazy to hear when you guys are planning massive expansions all over
It's
India.
been a pleasure talking to you and sharing our stories. I think, and I hope that we inspire more people to ride motorcycles safely, please, and always wear a helmet.
All gears all the time.
Yeah.
Yes, all the gear all the time.
Yeah.
On that
And
note, guys, thank you and
thank you.
Thank you.
all the very best.